Next on the news. The Holy Father celebrated Mass with some 50,000 people in Singapore, the last leg on his historic visit to Asia and Oceania. We'll look at how the Pope's visit and message have been received. The bells are back. 8 massive bells at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris have been restored after a devastating fire in 2019 and will ring once again when the landmark reopens later this year. We'll show you a moving memorial inside St. Patrick's Cathedral and how organizers hope it will put an end to the stigma of addiction. Plus, how rocker John Bon Jovi literally helped save a life by talking a woman off the ledge of a bridge in Nashville. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Pope Francis's historic trip to Asia and Oceania is winding down. The Holy Father just wrapped up his last full day in Singapore, a country where Catholicism is growing, and that was evident at a Mass the pontiff celebrated. On this, the feast of the Most Holy Name of Mary, Pope Francis celebrated Mass with some 50,000 people in Singapore's National Stadium. In his homily, the Holy Father said, in this city-state of skyscrapers, there is a love that builds up.
A volte succede che la grandezza e l'imponenza dei nostri progetti possono farcelo dimenticare, illudendoci di potere da soli, essere gli autori di noi stessi, della nostra ricchezza, del nostro benessere, della nostra felicità, ma alla fine la vita ci riporta sempre a un'unica realtà. Senza amore non siamo nulla.
Singapore is one of the most economically powerful countries in the world. It has strong relations with both China and the U.S. And in his address to political authorities, Pope Francis emphasized the country's responsibility to promote peace.
Singapore ha anche un ruolo specifico da giocare nell'ordine internazionale. Questo non lo dimentichiamo. Questo ordine internazionale è minacciato oggi da conflitti e guerre sanguinose e mi rallegro che abbia meritoriamente promosso il multilateralismo e un ordine basato su regole da tutti condivise. Vi incoraggio a continuare a lavorare per l'unità e la fraternità del genere umano.
Here to talk more about the papal journey is the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenburg. Hi, John.
Hi, Christine.
So, John, this was the Pope's longest trip of his papacy. He visited 4 countries. One of them, Timor-Leste, is the only one that's majority Catholic. Indonesia's majority Muslim, Papua New Guinea majority Christian, and Singapore majority Buddhist. So how has the Pope been received? How has his message been received?
Well, in each of those countries, regardless of how Catholic that country is, he's been met with large crowds and enthusiasm from Catholics who frankly have long anticipated his arrival since they found out about this trip. As for his message, you know, he brings a lot of the same message to countries about unity and things like that. And in each country, you know, you can't really tell how civic leaders, government leaders will respond to those things. But what we did see was that his messages moved Catholics, religious lay, clergy alike. And that's something that's going to last for a very long time.
And as we just reported, the Holy Father's currently in Singapore, where it's majority Catholic, or actually the Catholicism is growing in the majority Buddhist nation. So what's behind the growth spurt?
You know, it's really one of those classic stories of just perseverance and fighting through tough times. You know, Catholicism in Singapore has been around since the 16th century, and the people that brought it there just continue to grow it and grow it and grow it in the face of adversity. And so that's how it's gotten to where it is today. And it helps also that in Singapore, unlike some other Asian nations, encourages cooperation and dialogue between different religions.
All right, it's been almost a year since Pope Francis has traveled internationally. He went to France last September. A planned trip to Dubai in November was canceled because of health issues. So how has the almost 88-year-old fared on this historic trip?
Well, Pope Francis and those who helped him organize this trip, they went in with a very deliberate plan. He was going to rest after travel days. He's going to keep light schedules after travel days, things like that. And it seems so far that that has worked to a T. He's been able to be energetic in every country, greeting Catholics in every country, meeting with government leaders in every country. So that plan has worked very well. And, you know, it could be a map for how Pope Francis embarks on future trips if he chooses to do so.
Absolutely. He looked great. John Lavenburg, national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Christine.
All right. Be sure to stick with New York's Pope station, Currents News, and the Tablet for continuing coverage of the Holy Father's trip as it winds down. Now to Paris and the news that Notre Dame Cathedral is getting its bells back. 8 bronze bells, the heaviest of which weighs in at 4 tons, were heavily damaged, along with the landmark cathedral's roof and spires in a massive fire in 2019. The restored bells will be blessed and one by one will be hoisted into place in the 2 towers, but they will not ring out until the reopening later this year on December 8th. The bell's arrival back at Notre Dame is being called a very beautiful symbol of the cathedral's rebirth. There's a controversial proposal on the ballot in New York this November, and bishops in the state are urging Catholics to oppose it. This week's Tablet takes a deep dive into what the bishops are calling a wolf in sheep's clothing. Proposal 1 is called the Equal Rights Amendment, but the 8 prelates, including Bishop Brennan of the Diocese of Brooklyn, say that is misleading, and this constitutional amendment would enshrine abortion rights and could degrade parental rights. They're urging all New Yorkers to oppose it. So if you want to learn more about this amendment, be sure to pick up a copy of the paper at your local church this weekend. But if you want to support Catholic journalism, consider becoming a member. You can do so by going online to thetablet.org/become-a-member. There was a moving memorial inside St. Patrick's Cathedral for International Overdose Awareness Day. It's called the Black Poster Project, and on August 31st, pictures of lost loved ones filled the pews in the hopes of ending the stigma of addiction. The project was created in 2019 by a mom who lost her son to an overdose. She felt it would be an impactful visual to have posters of loved ones displayed at overdose awareness events. It began with 50 posters and sadly has now grown to almost 800. The posters are used in this moving exhibit called Silent Memorials that travels through New York and New Jersey. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer John Bon Jovi is making news, but not for his music. Take a look at this just released video from police in Nashville. It shows a woman who climbed over the railing of a bridge and is looking down at the water below. At the same time, on the other side of that bridge, Bon Jovi is doing a photo shoot. That's when the New Jersey native spotted her. The rocker, who was raised Catholic and attended St. Joseph High School in Metuchen, walked over with another woman. They both talked to her, trying to comfort her, and eventually convinced the unidentified woman to climb back over. Bon Jovi then takes her arm and helps lift her over the barrier before giving her a long hug. He stayed with the woman until paramedics arrived. If you or someone you know may be in crisis, you can call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988, or you can text the word HOME to 741-741. And finally tonight, she is 82 years young and has been a teacher for decades and has no plans to retire anytime soon. Pat Colunga says teaching was part of God's plan for her. And the Michigan educator says she is committed to making a difference in students' lives for as long as she can. She's worked at several schools throughout her life, but Canton Charter Academy has been home for more than 20 years. She tried retirement once in her 50s, but that didn't last long, just 2 to 3 months before she was back in the classroom. Colunga says for her, teaching is so much more than just reading, writing, and math.
Find something to do to help other people or to make a difference in the lives of others. This is the job, evidently, that God gave me to do.
And thank God for her and other teachers like her. I know I had great teachers at St. Rita's and St. Francis Prep, so God bless them all. And before we go, do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.